The first time I saw her after we broke up, it felt like someone had turned the volume down on the entire world. We were at a mutual friend's wedding in late September, one of those crisp, golden days where the leaves looked like they were lit from within. She stood under a string of lights, laughing at something someone said, her fingers brushing a curl out of her eyes. For a moment, I forgot we hadn't spoken in over a year. Her name is Mira. And for nearly 5 years, she was my entire world. We met in college, both of us wildly ambitious, stubborn, and hopelessly idealistic. We were that couple everyone assumed would either break up in a blaze of drama or get married young. For a while, it looked like we might actually do both. But life, as it tends to, had other plans. We broke up because we stopped being kind to each other. That's the simplest way to say it. It wasn't cheating or a massive fight. It was the slow erosion of patience, the accumulation of tiny resentments. By the end, we couldn't go a week without fighting. And when we did fight, we reached for the worst things we could say, like knives. It was Mira who ended it. I remember her standing in our old apartment, near the bookshelf she built from scratch, tears in her eyes but her voice calm. "We can't keep doing this. It's killing us." And she was right. Middle asterisk asterisk. Seeing her again brought all of that back, the good and the bad. She looked the same, and yet different. More grounded somehow, like someone who had learned how to carry her own heart more gently. I watched her for too long before she finally noticed me. Her eyes widened slightly, and then she smiled. Tentative. Soft. We made small talk. Catching up. She was working at a non-profit now, something to do with refugee resettlement. I was at a marketing firm, which suddenly felt embarrassingly hollow. Still, she asked questions and listened, really listened, the way she always had. As the night wore on, we kept drifting toward each other, like magnets fighting through fog. We danced once. It was awkward at first, and then not. She laughed when I spun her too fast. I forgot how much I missed the sound of her laughter. Later, when we found ourselves alone under the dim fairy lights, I asked if she ever thought about us. "Sometimes," she said. "Not in the way I used to. But sometimes." I didn't know what I expected. Maybe some sweeping confession. But Mira was never one for dramatics. She thought before she spoke. Always. "Do you miss it?" I asked. She looked down at her shoes. "I miss the idea of it. The version of us that worked." There it was. The truth. As clear and impossible as ever. We didn't kiss. We didn't go home together. We said goodbye like adults do, with a tight smile and a promise to stay in touch that neither of us believed. But I couldn't let it go. Over the next few weeks, I found myself thinking about her constantly. Not just the memories, but who she might be now. Had she finally taken that solo trip to Spain? Did she still doodle in the margins of her notebooks? Did she still cry during animated movies? I texted her on a Wednesday afternoon. Just a photo of the old coffee shop we used to haunt, now with a new name. She replied an hour later, "Looks weird without us there." That opened the door. We met for coffee. Then for a walk. Then dinner. It was never framed as a date, but it felt like one. We fell back into a rhythm, easy and dangerous. It was like dancing on the edge of a cliff, exhilarating and terrifying. One night, sitting on a bench overlooking the river, I finally asked what we were doing. "I don't know," she admitted. "But I know I like talking to you again. I like who I am when I'm with you." I told her I felt the same. But I also told her I was scared. What if we hadn't changed enough? What if we made the same mistakes? She nodded. We probably would. At least some of them. But maybe we'd handle them better. Maybe we wouldn't break each other this time. And we kept seeing each other. Slowly, cautiously. We talked more honestly than we ever had. About what went wrong, what we were afraid of, what we wanted. Mira told me she had started therapy a few months after the breakup. That she learned how much of her anger came from fear, of being abandoned, of not being good enough. I told her I had started writing again, something I had stopped doing during our last year together. I wrote about regret. About her. One night, after another long walk, she reached for my hand. It was such a simple gesture, but it felt monumental. Like a line had been crossed, softly, intentionally. We didn't rush into anything. We made space for the past without letting it define us. There were hard days. Days when old habits crept in, when we needed space. But we talked. We listened. We learned. One Sunday morning, sitting on my balcony with coffee and the New York Times crossword between us, she looked up and said, "I think we had to break apart to find our way back." I nodded. Maybe timing really is everything. She smiled. Or maybe we just needed to grow into the people we were meant to be. That night, I wrote again. About second chances. About love that doesn't always follow a straight line. About how sometimes, the person you let go is also the one you find again, not because they complete you, but because they help you become whole.